one thing I was curious to know. So while we're sitting on this still normal C, I'll make sure there's sounds in the day that there's sound in the system. Like mics or not.
Oh, yeah, so like if they're just people dropping off.
Yeah. So here it's perfect. Your sound. Test. The mic is on. Test. That now it's test. That's right.
And welcome everyone here to TCH Live. It's our final dress rehearsal before a very big weekend of the Moneymaker Celebrity Series here at Texas Card House in Austin, and we welcome you here on the official YouTube channel of TCH Live. An exciting night planned for us. We've got a super tournament, a super turbo mock tournament that they're going to be running here with our TCH staff as we continue to get more familiar with all the capabilities that we have with the RFID technology, card readers, and get our staff up to date. Well, each player in this game going to start with 15,000 in their starting stack. The blue chip on your screen represents 5,000. The black chip represents 1,000, and the white chips at 1,000 apiece. And we'll start with blinds at 100, 200 with a 200 big blind ante. And as we go to the flop here, Sam with a 9-8 offsuit, Chris with ace-5 at diamonds, JD, queen-jack offsuit. Some playable hands here in the early goings of our Super Turbo as JD would make the first opening raise here with queen-jack offsuit and going to get a bunch of callers, and we will go 5 ways to our first flop of the tournament. And here we go. Garrett behind the box, and we'll have our first flop. Electric here as James going to flop top pair, JD. The initial raiser in the hand with queen jack offsuit. Has got an open-ended straight draw, and James going to continuation bet on the flop of 2,000. JD's going to call here. Chris also going to take a card off here with the ace-5 of diamonds. And we'll get some change back here as we go to the turn. A pot of over 12,300. And bingo! Huge turn card as that gives a nut straight here to JD. Chris is going to turn an an ace-high flush draw and another small bet of 2K on the turn. Big card coming here on the river. And it's a 4 of diamonds. Chris has gone runner for the ace-high flush. He did have bottom pair on the flop, so it was a good enough card for him to take a card off and see what's going to happen. And he's going to lead out here on the river for a bet of 5,200. JD's going to shove all in. Now, James, who started this flop with a top pair with a king and a 3 kicker, is going to be forced to fold. And Chris instantly calls, and he's going to double up. Here in the first hand, JD has been eliminated. So a healthy stack of chips going to be going here to Chris in seat number 9. It's the ace-high flush. Makes it. So players, again, starting with 15K starting stacks. The blinds are going to go up every 5 hands in this simulation. So as we get familiar with how we post a big blind ante, how we post the blinds, and making sure that all these cards are reading correctly. And we're going to move on here to our next hand as JD has been eliminated. No word yet, this is a re-entry tournament, but staff members all involved here as playing for pride. I try to ask them, hey, you guys want to put like 5, 10, 20 bucks on this, play for fun, add a little extra to this game, but for the intents and purposes here as we get going here in the early round of our Super Turbo staff tournament by the folks here at Texas Card House. Yeah, I talked to James off the screen. I said, boy, you didn't really have a whole heck of a lot of luck in the last one. Maybe it's going to go better for you this time, but here's assistant GM Danny up front here with ace-queen. And let's see what kind of sizing she opts to go with here under the gun. And going to lead out a raise of 600. Chris going to call here with a king-jack of hearts. And on the 10 seed, JD has moved into Greg's spot to take over for here. And he'll call with his pocket 5s. Asa here with 10-9 offsuit. Here in the cutoff in perfectly reasonable position. And Jillian going to give up the 8-7 as we will go 4 ways to a flop. So Sam going to come along here with ace-5 offsuit in the big blind as Well, while that was all going on, JD had made a 3-bet to 1,200 with his fives, and off we go here to the flop. Flop comes queen, 9 and 7 with 2 clubs. Danny with the best hand with a pair of queens. Ace has got second pair with a 9. Chris also got a gut shot straight draw and an overcard here with king jack. Danny continues here for 2,400 and gets a call here by Chris in position. Pot has built up here to 11,100 as we go to the turn. And flop comes, or excuse me, the turn comes as 7 of spades. We'll go check, check. Danny hoping to dodge some bad cards. And one on the surface looks pretty bad, but Danny also has the ace of spades in her hand. And a nice value bet there on the river here of 8,000. And, about a half the size of the bet of the pot. Not able to get Chris to make a move on that pot, and a scoop a nice one here in her second hand of our Super Turbo. So Chris out in front with 35,800. Danny just behind the 22.5. And we're expected here to have this to be a tournament and then a brief cash game. Get nothing but pride on the line as we test all of this out. And just kind of get an opportunity to see how all of this works, and the production value really high. And I've been a part of broadcasting for about over 17 years, and some of these things look really simple. It's amazing when you see it on your screen, but there's a lot of hands helping each other on the technical side of things to make sure we're minding our P's and Q's. And we've got this switched on, and we've got this security measure in place to make sure the player's information is going to be nothing but held to the highest standards for us running a quality game as we do here at Texas Card House in Austin. A lot of rags, a lot of junky hands. No raises, so we'll go 4 ways to the flop as Danny checks her option with the ace-4 offsuit and the ace of diamonds. Flop comes 10-3-10. 3 of a kind for Sam and the 4 kicker. JD's got bottom pair. We'll go ahead and lead out on a bet of 600. See if Sam's just going to make the call here and try to see if she can trap. Doesn't have much to trap with, but JD could turn a flush draw. And now he's pretty much stone dead in this. Is 100% locked down to win the hand, and he's going to keep firing. Here comes a bet. Bet of 1,200, and you see Sam grabbing chips here. It's only got about a 10,700, and she moves. Yeah, it should be a pretty easy, quick decision by JD, as even in his most optimistic scenarios, there's not a lot of hands that he beats there, and beyond a pure bluff, and Sam takes down a nice spot as we move on to our third hand here of our Turbo 9 here on Texas Card House. So, well, speaking of tournaments, we've got a heck of a one coming up on Saturday with Chris Moneymaker. A $15K guaranteed prize pool, a re-entry tournament of $150. You get $25K as your starting stack, 30-minute levels that will start at 12:30. Your opportunity to possibly be on the feature table, or if you're fortunate enough to make the final table, as that will be broadcast here on TCH Live. As not going to be the only thing going on, as well as Chris Moneymaker will be hosting a 5-5 no limit and a 1-3 no limit cash game on Friday night on TCH. That should be our expected debut broadcast of TCH Live. And no shortage of players going to be wanting to sign up for the action. We look forward to seeing you here at Texas Card House here in Northwest Austin. A couple of hands here as we move along, as small flop, or excuse me, a small pot as we go to the flop is JD with the ace-10 of spades. Probably the nicest looking hand out of the bunch. I like Sam's queen-8 of clubs here. So we go to our flop. Ace, king, 9. Pair of aces here for JD, also for Jillian, but no kicker with deuce. I'll go ahead and lead out. Bet a 600. They're about half the size of the pot, and get a quick call here from Jillian and Chris. Here with the bottom pair of 9s. Kind of either trying to gamble here, or there's there's a few universes here where you're up against queen jacks or jack 10s, or opens up the opportunity. Maybe you can get a king to fold later on in the other streets, but JD with the hammer and bets the 3K. And we'll chip back up here. Moves his stack up here to about 13.9. And these players all started with 15,000. And our opening level of 100, 200 with a 200 big blind ante. If you want to interact with us, you can do so there in the chat box if you're watching here on YouTube. Also invite you to like and subscribe on our channel. Search TCH Live. A lot of action going on here in the main room as well, as we do have our $50 ladies tournament, a re-entry tournament. $50 gets you $15K in chips, as that started at 7 o'clock. And it is also ladies' night here at Texas Card House. Now 50% off on your hourly. And here's a big hand. There's ace under the gun with a pair of jacks. And he's going to raise it here to 1,200. See if he gets any action behind. Sam will call in position with king queen offsuit. And most likely, yep, we're going to be going heads up here to the flop, a pair against the 2 overs. Well, as I say that, JD in a mood to splash around, and we'll draw a flop of 4-3 deuce. JD with a gut shot to a straight with a 5. Ace away out in front, and I like his continuation bet here of 1,200, about a third of the size of the pot. And try to get some value here, and maybe induce a raise. JD's here for the action, and he'll give a call. We will go 3 ways here to the turn. Jacks, an even bigger favorite as a blank on the turn of the 8 of hearts. 70%, 76% to win this hand, and I think this bet of 5K should drive everybody out. And JD says no more. And then nice hand there for Asa. Board texture worked out great for him. That each bet that he could make on each street is, comes with a high level of certainty that he's got the best hand. And bump his chip stack up to 17,500 as we move along. As the button's going to move to the 9th seat for Chris. That will make JD and Asa the big blinds. Got a great promotion going on here at Texas Card House here for the month of January. If it's a progressive discount, if you play for 5 hours straight, you can take 20% off your hourly fee. If you're here for 7 hours straight, you can take 30% off. And for 10 hours straight, over 40% off. So, you're fortunate enough to spend a day here and log a 10-hour session. That's 40% off the daily rate that you play here at Texas Card House. Blinds are up 200, 400 with a 400 big blind ante. As the action continues here on TCH Live. My name is Mike Younglick. Glad to be joining you wherever you may be across the globe. And Chris is going to raise on the button with king 6 offsuit, seeing a couple of limpers out in front. And ace it with ace jack. Will make the call. Sam also gonna call, but get some change. You only got the blue 5,000 chip. And we'll go 4 ways to the flop. Danny with the Jack 8 suited as well. Ace with the best hand, but let's see what the flop brings. 10-7-5 rainbow. Ace is still out in front with Ace Jack. Danny's got an inside straight draw to a 9 and can also draw a pair. And Ace on the turn, it gives Danny a flush draw. Top pair for Ace with a Jack. Chris is going to bet and represent the ace, being the pre-flop raiser, as Ace not going anywhere. And Danny not going to call with a flush draw. Not a huge bet, but one with a lot of stacks there on the table is going to try to stay out of the way. And the board pair is a 10. It's a good bluff card here for Chris, but Ace is going to make a quick call. And Chris mucks as Ace on fire on the early goings and showing some enthusiasm. I always like when the game can make you dance a little bit, and a little shimmy. Of course, Ace has got a wonderful dog, Dougie. Dougie Fresh, I think is kind of the unofficial mascot of Texas Card House. And a very good boy that we all love to pet. So if you ever get the opportunity to meet Dougie, you can visit us here at 13376 North Highway 183, Suite 605. If you want to get into the game tonight, you can call at 512-956-7195 to reserve your seat in any of our games going. I got a couple of 1-2 no limit. I've got a 5-10 mixed game going tonight. I think a 1-3 hold'em game going as well. To go along with the tournament that you see here on your screen as we get ready for the Chris Moneymaker series here at Texas Card House. Sam here with Ace-8 offsuit. Blinds 200, 400 will make the call. Danny with a pretty King-6 of clubs. Chris with a raise now in the cutoff. Bump it up here to 1,400. And Ace on a mini heater. We'll call with the 8-4 of diamonds. Sam will also splash around here with the Ace-8 offsuit. By the percentages, Danny actually has the best potential chance to win this hand. And flop comes Ace-7 King. 2 pair here for Danny. Top pair for Sam. And she's going to push all in. It's got a roughly about 9,000 or 8,000 or so. An easy call going to be happening here for Danny. It has got Sam in really rough shape as the ace of show is over, as has won a couple of nice hands, and Sam's going to need some help. Top pair only. Turn comes to 9. Could also make 2 pair aces and 9s as well. And the river at 10. Sam has been eliminated. Danny takes down a huge pot of 13,700. With a very underrated King-7 of clubs. Now, the books will tell you that's not a great hand to play, but, if you get at this level of the tournament where you can splash around, your stack's pretty big, that, you get the implied odds there to try to see if, hey, you can outflop somebody, be cooler somebody. And, Sam with about 7,000, 8,000 of chips. Saw an opportunity to try to pick up a pot, and then was picked right off there by Danny on the spot. Well, the re-entries continue. Sam will buy back in, and so kind of the nice part about it, too, is that if you get knocked out early on, it can always rebuy back in and get your opportunity to chip back up. And, do some action here on the tournament side as compared to a freeze-out where, it's your one bullet that you have going in, so, that really just shows you the power that your stack has in those situations. Where in the re-entry, if you're a player that's got the pockets enough to get back into it, you can take a little bit more risk. splash around a little bit more. And we'll get Sam back in there. JD here on the 1 seat. Let's pick up what his hand here is. The mystery hand is 9-4 of spades. And of course you got to be in there. It's 9-4 of spades, man. Danny after that last hand up here in the chip lead. Aces. Well, let's go. It looks like we're going heads up here to the flop. Check that. Make that 3 players. Chris actually here with 9-4 of spades. Ace deuce of hearts. So check that for JD. And the 4 seat ace of stack has king 10 offsuit with a king of hearts. 7-7-5. Nobody makes a pair. JD's ace high in the lead also has an ace high flush draw. Pot of 10,600. We'll make a bet and take it down pretty easily. And these players starting with 15,000 in chips. Blinds going up every 5 hands. So we're at 200 and 400. Danny had eliminated Sam earlier with 2 pair. And Sam right back in the game, but not going to be the big blind with the ante. Yeah, you want to invite us here to the chat box here on TCH Live there on the YouTube? Dylan Silva checking in, just saying there's some big action here. Asa with some soul reads. Appreciate you dropping in wherever you may be. Other things up here on the schedule for your Chris Moneymaker series coming up this weekend. Again, we've talked about the 5-5 no limit game that we'll be streaming live on TCH Live. The 15K guaranteed reentry tournament on Saturday. What about else? What's going on? Sunday, January 5th, there's a no limit hold'em mega stack, a $100 buy-in, and a $200 bounty on Chris Moneymaker, and a chance to get a T-shirt. So Chris going to be hosting a 5-5 pot limit Omaha game on Monday the 6th. And on January 7th, Chris also going to be involved in a 2-5 Big O game with a mixed limit cash game happening as well. Small raise here. The blind's 200, 400. The raise up to 1,000. 5 players to the flop as we go queen, queen, jack. JD way ahead of here with the 3 of a kind of queens. Jillian's going to bet her 2 pair on the button here with a pair of 5s. And it gets checked here there. I feel like 2 pairs almost overwhelmingly the best hand. And now seat 1 will make the call. Goes check, check. And here to the river. Queen's full now. Here for Garrett. And try to see if he can get some value. Here comes a bet of about 5,000. There's a lot out there that beats Jillian. Say if big call paired like a jacks, but the best optimistic scenario is maybe had king 10 or diamonds were also there, but nice bet there by Garrett on the end to get some value here with his queens full. And there you see the numbers, the chips that have been put in play by each of the players, and some pretty high percentages here. But it's a mock tournament. We're having fun. We're getting the opportunity to see what we have within our software, with our broadcast team. And this has been really cool to witness, and we're only more excited to see what's ahead for everybody here at Texas Card House. Next hand, we're one of the last couple hands here of 2-4. See if we can get Asa to read his cards. He's got Queen 10 off suit. Reasonable, but Sam's got Ace King of Spades and makes a raise to 1,400, and we will go 3 ways to the flop. Sam also with 9-8 off suit. Board comes out of blank, 10-5 deuce with 2 hearts. Danny ahead here with Ace King. Or excuse me, check that Ace with the top pair with the Queen. Ace is going to call her there with top pair. Danny either needing to make some kind of straight combination happen or make an ace or a king. And here comes the turn of 9, a blank there for Danny. Ace of checks back, bet of 6,200, and a quick call here by Asa. Needing a dodge, an ace or a king, and a 6 of hearts. So Danny's bet all streets of this, pre-flop, on the flop, on the turn. Ace has called them in each spot, and the bluff catcher, Asa, confidently turns over his top pair with a queen. And Danny getting a good chuckle there as she 3-barreled. And that's what really gets Ace King. And I think that's really the frustrating part about playing it is, you get it, you feel like, okay, I've got one of the top premium hands with it, but you still have to connect with it. And when you don't make a pair in Ace King, you feel like you haven't won with it in years. And when you're hitting it, it feels like you can never miss. And so in a tournament, it gets a little bit more trickier to try to get all the value out of it that you can, and it becomes a real trying to find the right word. It's kind of a catch-22 as far as, hey, you're still vulnerable, but if you get blockers or you get the right kind of flop, it can represent. But there was no pushing out Asa there with top pair. So we move along to the next hand. Everybody calling. We've got 5 players to the flops. An ace deuce, an ace 3. JD with the suited jack 5 of clubs. Chris going to check his option with the 83 offsuit. Well, Sam also here with ace 3 as well. $3,000 in the pot, and we'll go right to the flop of 10-7-7 with 2 spades. Check, check. Nobody's made a pair. And ace 3 and ace 3 currently out in the lead as a turn of 4. So nice. They're just being friendly with each other. Nobody trying to take a stab at it. And the river comes at jack. Excuse me, the card reading a queen. Mind fart on my part. Sorry about that, folks. James with a top pair with a queen shows it down. And a near family pot gets a chip up here for James, who's accomplished fisherman, overall good guy. It's been a big part of our expansion into different locations here throughout the state of Texas, which we've got 3 of them. You're not only here in TCH Austin, but out in Houston at TCH Houston, out in Spring, Texas, located at 1411 Spring Cypress Road. And if you want to visit them on Instagram, tch.htx, and a phone number of 346-831-0677. And also, if you happen to be down south, out in TCH Rio Grande Valley in Edinburgh, just launched that earlier in December, a terrific facility, and happy to get boots on the ground and poker happening in South Texas. Well, no premiums up here thus far. James going to open here with Jack 9 offsuit. Reasonable. And Garrett going to call with the King 3 of clubs. Jillian also going to call here with 4,000. It's got about 5,700 left, and she connects something. I expect she's going to move on it. Flop comes Jack 8 deuce with 2 hearts. James with top pair. And we'll continuation bet here for 2,500. Sometimes a game as simply as that. You flop a pair, you make a bet, and everybody goes away. Chilling down to about 14 big blinds, a stack of 5,700. Ace with 32% of the chips in play. As we move up to the next level, 300, 600 with a 600 big blind ante, 14th hand overall of our TCH staff super extravaganza here on Thursday. And if you're feeling thirsty here on your Thursday, this is a BYOB facility. Bring your favorite 6-pack, your bottle of wine, maybe a little liquor, your friends Jack, Jose. We invite you to drink responsibly. Do not drink and drive. That's the nice part about it. You're having your Ubers and your Lyfts. So wish you a happy new year as well here into 2020. And I know for some of you probably had a good time on New Year's Eve, that the last thing you want to think about is a little drop of alcohol. As Danny in the cutoff with King, Queen of Diamonds, going to raise it to 1,800, 3x. Asa says, why not here with 6-5 offsuit? And heads up as these two tangled before in an epic battle of Ace King versus Queen 10. Flop comes Queen 5-4. Top pair here for Danny. 3 hearts on the board. It goes check, check. Keeping the pot small, making sure nothing crazy happens. And, well, that's going to turn 3 of a kind here for Asa. Goes bet call here for 2,000. Pot up to about 9,100. Danny needs a queen and a queen only. And a river comes an ace. Ace is going to make a bet. Danny's going to call and see. My check back didn't work out the way I'd hoped. And I mean, that's a tough spot there, even there with the King, Queen of Diamonds. You flop top pair, second best kicker. Against somebody with a bigger stack, you're worried in situations like that where, say Asa has like just the naked ace of hearts in his hand, or like ace 4, and if Danny wants to make that a big pot right there on the flop, she certainly can. But Asa splashing around a lot doesn't really have an ability to be able to just pick up exactly what he has, and unfortunately the percentages worked out that it turned 3 of a kind there on the turn, and Asa's heater continues. As now the next hand with lines 300, 600. James will open about 1,800, and Danny's going to come over the top all in. With only about 3,900 left with the Queen 8 offsuit. See if anybody else decides to hang out in there. And good news here for Jillian. She's got a pair of 10s here in the big blind, and those chips will be going all in. Well, Erica's not going to take over. Jillian's going to move all in here with her 10s. James with ace high. And about 1,800 in here. Is more than enough odds to call and potentially knock out 2 players. But Jillian the slight favorite, a 39% favorite 3 ways. Danny looking to draw anything and got the overcard with the queen. And the only diamond out of the three players. And they're all diamond people, though, so cards will turn up. Again, in tournament poker, in an all-in situation, all players have to turn up their hands. Whereas in a cash game, you don't want to show, you don't have to. All right. Jack of clubs, seven of clubs, deuce of hearts, or deuce of spades. Turn comes a seven. And a river, another seven. Tens have been knocked out here by James. It says, ship me the cheddar. What was it, that thing that Joe Hashim used to say? He would say, pass the sugar. Did that make it into the poker lexicon, or did that kind of fade out? But he was Australian. You can kind of let a guy's creativity shine there as we'll scoop and knock out two players with his three of a kind sevens. I think we'll get Jillian back in there. Here's a mock tournament simulation here on TCH Live. And also kind of gives the players a chance to learn a little bit too. We all got thoughts as far as, okay, this is how we make this game great, or these are the potential hurdles that we'll have to overcome. And me as a broadcaster, just trying to get familiar with all of this. I'm in an isolated studio here in the back of TCH. My phone has been put away. I've put that out in the main room to charge above all else, but we want to make sure we're taking all the necessary precautions to make sure that there's little to no absolute doubt that some of the controversies that we've seen with some of the streaming games, they ain't going to be happening here, folks. Well, we're going to go heads up. As our cards. Well, actually, we're going to move on here to the next hand. As Chris got to be feeling good. You see that Buffalo Bills hat. The Bills are back in the playoffs, and they actually have a pretty good football team this year. And we got to know that because we've got an NFL Sunday ticket here at Texas Card House, and get the opportunity to take a break, or if you're on the table as a player, you can tap a floor manager and say, hey, man, I want that game up here on this TV, and we are more than happy to oblige you as bowl season wrapping up and NFL playoffs heating up as well as Ace King versus Ace King, the spades versus the hearts. James in there with King 7, so only one king left in the deck as he's Sam and Jillian going to get it all in. Now you see Sam there is a small favorite to potentially get it just because we know through reading the deck how many actual spades and hearts are available. And they each get one. A heart and a spade. Ooh, a heart chance here for Jillian. And it'll be a 7, so we'll have a chop pot between the two ace kings. But no, a little bit of a sweat there for Sam. And I think every player that you talk to that remembers any bat beat, that they've at least run into that situation once. You've got an ace king versus another ace king, or aces versus another pair of aces, or kings versus another pair of kings. It's always like a shot right to the stomach if you happen to be the losing end on that. But as we continue here with our dress rehearsal here at Texas Card House Live, my name is Mike Youngwood. Shout out here to our production team, Carolyn, Sonny. So who else we've got working here tonight? Does Ryan also? So Garrett will raise it up to the Queen 5 of spade. see if he gets any takers, and we'll steal the blinds. The antes the way they are, any opportunity that you have to pick up some chips in this stage, you're gonna go with. So heads up here to the flop. An aggressive shove here on a flop of Jack sinks deuce. Erica says, "Oh yeah, hey, why not? I got the 4-3 of clubs, and she's still drawing live to a pair as well, but an inside straight draw." Garrett's got one of her fives, and a turn comes a spade. Spade flush draw now here for Garrett. Still any pair wins, and that's a 7. And of course, the monster Queen 5 of spades will hold, as was dodging a few outs. As we continue here on TCH Live, blinds at 3 and 600, 600 big blind ante. Seep 1 has massed the most number of chips. We started with Greg and moved on to JD. Now Garrett bringing the hammer there in Seep 1. Move along here to our next hand of TCH Live, hand 19. Our staff showdown super turbo. We are expecting also run another cash game here on this to get ready for what's going to be an amazing weekend of the Chris Moneymaker Celebrity Poker Series. 5-5 no limit, 1-3 no limit on Friday tomorrow. The $15K guaranteed prize pool re-entry, a $150 tournament for your chance to win with the 2003 World Series of Poker main event champion Chris Moneymaker. See, I'm going to call on the button with ace deuce of diamonds. Chris in the small blind is going to raise it here with Jack 10 offsuit. JD brings the heap with a raise over the top, shoves all in with ace queen offsuit. Sam accidentally had, trying to muck her hand, exposed the 8 deuce, and Chris with about 16,200 says, "I'm live here, let's play." Garrett's got to be feeling pretty confident here, but 9-8-3, 3 spades. Jack 10 here with the open end straight draw. Jack 10. And the river comes to 7. Chris is going to double up with a 7 of Jack straight. And we'll stay alive here, as that'll take a decent chunk of chips off of Garrett here. And now with the fluctuation, we've got 3 even stacks here at the top. Erica's stack. And James, all about 34,000. And we'll keep it moving here. Well, I don't know if you guys know or not, but I was making a drive up here to Texas Card House here for this dress rehearsal. And I was able to go into my Apple Music and listen to the From the Felt podcast with Bill, Sam, and Ryan. So, hey, I wanted to go back and listen to that Moneymaker episode and just get familiar with what he's up to currently. And there's been over about 17 episodes. There's the latest one with Johnny Vibes. He was in the house not too long ago. A number of others here, Andrew and Mimi. Let's move on here to the next hand. Is Chris going to make a move here with Queen Jack? As take down a small pot, and now has chipped his way up to 36,000. Nobody with an overwhelming chip advantage at this point, so think even the small stacks feel like, okay, I've got a puncher's chance to continue here. And that's the beautiful part about tournament poker. You know, even at your smallest, you still got a degree of hope. So if you're just joining us, you can see some of the chip denominations there. The 100 chips are 100 in value. The black chips are 1,000, and the blue chips represent 5,000 tournament chips. And we're not playing for anything but pride here, and our dress rehearsal is blinds going up every 5 hands from the 15K starting stack. With a couple of re-entries. Here on Ladies Night at Texas Card House, 50% off for ladies visiting here into the cash games. There's no hourly fee while you play the tournaments here, and we've got a $50 no limit ladies re-entry tournament. And you know the poker world's got a great responsibility, and I think it's really trying to find more women's players. And you know, Moneymaker brought up a really great point. Is that I think because women just have a general degree of higher emotional intelligence, that I think it's like the potential is there for a lot of really great women's players to emerge. But it is a population that of mostly male players that tend to outnumber them. So we've really wanted to create kind of an environment so that women players can come learn in some of the ladies tournaments and grow the game of poker here within the Austin area. And we expect certainly in the future for that to continue. As looks like we're gonna get a new deck in here. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can certainly do so at tch.atx. And we've got a promotion also that an opportunity for some earn some free hours by following some of our social media accounts, and to show that there to the front desk that you've subscribed also here to TCH Live. And for the early going, subscriber numbers are looking good, so we encourage you to keep that up. Tell your friends, tell your family, especially if you're going to be playing on this. Hey, look for me on the big screen. I know for my parents don't really understand poker. Don't I've always tried to talk with them about what we are, a Texas card house, a safe, awesome environment with a lot of great people around. And I think if you try to tell somebody who's not necessarily involved in poker or has any idea, I think they get the image that it's like 9 guys who look like Yosemite Sam all barking at each other with a 6-shooter, just like, "What did you say to me?" And it's no. It's nothing like that. It's a cool, very calm environment with a lot of people passionate about the game of poker, and we're happy to provide that experience to anybody who walks through the door. So, and to get more of a feel for what we're like, you can visit us on Instagram at tch.atx. If you want to follow our main account, that's at Texas Card House. But if you're in Houston, you can follow on tch.htx, the Rio Grande Valley tch.rgv for the new club open in Edinburgh. It's getting into winter. I feel like I'm going to have to go even maybe a little bit further south. But weather this time of year in Austin's pretty good, and it becomes no joke once you get here to the nighttime hours. So Also, want to remind you of our progressive bonus that we have for players for your opportunity to save on your hourly fees. If you play for 5 hours straight, you can save 20% off here that day. If you play for 7 hours straight, you can save 30% off. And if you're a grinder like a number of you are, if you play for 10 hours straight, you can save over 40% off. 40% off if you're here for 10 hours. And a little break in the action here on TCH Live. Again, my name is Mike Youngblood. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at HoopsMike. Again, that's at HoopsMike. And taking a look at the games that we have here in our TCH North location. Again, 3 no limit hold'em tables, 1-2 no limit with bomb pots. We've got a 1-3 game going tonight, a 5-10 mixed game also happening as well to go along with the $50 ladies no limit hold'em tournament. Ironing out some things here on the technical side is and I'll tell you, like, my experience here with the RFID cards too is, they're a little bit bigger than the standard deck. They are absolutely expensive. So if you are going to be playing in this game, we strongly encourage you to, be as delicate and careful with these as you can, because they don't bend in a certain way as far as, the way that you may be accustomed to using. And I think most people understand that now. And it's like everything else. With repetition comes expertise to your level of comfort of using this. And but there are always, especially with a production of this level, as far as, all the things that need to be anticipated and worked on. And I think we've done just a terrific job trying to, get everybody up to speed. We have a lot of really smart people that, beyond poker, are actually, pretty terrific and with the learning curve to understand all of this. And, without their contributions, none of this is going to be possible. So, oh, this.
Yeah, you gotta click to see. Look, you click now talk.
Oh, did we go off?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we were on here previous, but
There's no sound. You're not talking for sure right now. What?
how long ago did we go off?
Not long.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, okay. Uh, we are back here as like. Audio dropped there momentarily here on TCH Live. We're back up on the air. Can subscribe here to our YouTube channel, TCH Live, so that, when our broadcasts are, you get a notification letting you know, hey, we are on, and we are rocking and rolling, and we're glad to have you with us. So as we talked about before here in our TCH Austin location, games that we've got going on include 1-2 no limit hold'em cash, 3 tables of that right now. We've got a 1-3 game up and running, both of those bomb pots. 5-10 mixed game. Also on tape 1 in the main room. Now, as we resume tournament play after a brief break. So the ladies night here, 50% off, and $50 ladies re-entry tournament. $50 gets you 15K in chips. I see. I think I have volume. I might have. Well, move on here to our next hand. Looks like blinds are up. Raise the level on every 5 hands. A lot of clubs out there, looks like. Okay, so we're testing the deck right now. That's what we got going on. It's like, man, we got a lot of clubs out here. That's all right. We'll continue as go to a flop of ace deuce 4. Or excuse me, 8 deuce 4. Gonna bet and a call here by Chris in C9. James gonna check here and all right. Queen of hearts, 2 of hearts, 4 of spade. If Jack comes here on the turn, Chris is going to make a bet about 10,000 with a 5 of hearts coming here on the end. James made a pair of 5s. And it's going to take down the pot of about 14,100 with left catch on the end with a pair of 5s. Just third pair and an ace kicker. And, it was... And you can follow us on Instagram at TCH.ATX. Follow our Houston location in Spring, Texas at TCH.ATX. Got a 1-2, no limit game going on as tournament at our spring location at $85 deep stack re-entry, $1,600 guaranteed prize pool, and so ladies night out at each of these locations here for 50% off ladies off their hourly fee. It's kind of fun following. Looking to continue our reach here in Texas, and if you want to find out what this information is, go to TexasCardHouse.com. Links to our podcast and each of our locations. You can find out more about us. As the deep stack super turbo continues, you see these players starting with 15K chips. The blue chips at 5,000, the black chips at 1,000, and the 100 denomination white chips. So we reconfirm the stack numbers for each of these players. So, you may be wondering here, okay, how does all of this stuff work? So, you see, the cards are being read as I'm seeing it on delay and not in real time. So, we've made these measures just in place to, hey, make sure that no crazy stuff's happening here, and so far so good. And once we get to our next hand, it's going to continue 400, 800 with an 800 big blind ante. And we are a club that it is a big blind first. So if you do run into a situation where you've gotten chipped down quite a bit and the ante's on you, you will not be penalized for that. You could really make a debate about this until the cows come home. as far as what method is more fair, is it less fair, is it more conducive to player friendly versus structure friendly, and I think it's one of the few debates left that you can agree with either side and be 100% correct. And the argument I've always made as far as if a big blind ante is first is that any player that say you've got a big blind ante out there of 5,000, if a player perhaps got 500 chips left and he's on the button, that player theoretically can pick up the 5K ante. Just put the five. It can only win 500 as far as what he can earn. When we're back to the action, though, we'll step back to that as Sam has moved all in here with ace jack off suit. Chris has got tentative diamonds. Asa with the pretty queen jack of hearts. And James with about 4,100 left will call with 9-8 off suit. Big pot brewing here is going to get your chips in the middle. And what do you guys think is going to win here? The percentages fairly close to each other. Chris has got my favorite hand, which is 10-8 suited, so Sam's got ace jack, dominates aces, queen jack, but two hearts, the only hearts of the four hands, a potential drawing chance for Racer to chip up. As Erica will count the pawn, it's going to have to calculate the main and the side as James only with 4,100, so they'll bring that into the main and then work out the sides. And Chris and Asa with chips remaining still have a chance to light some fireworks, and off we go to a deuce 7-6 flop. An open-ended straight draw now for James. Nobody has made a pair yet. Backdoor diamonds opportunity here for Chris as well. Turn comes at 8. Chris and James both have made a pair. And the river's going to come a 3 of spades. And that means Chris is going to take it down with 10-8 of the diamonds for a 28,700 chip pot. Sam has been eliminated. James has been eliminated. And the bad run has kind of continued here for Jameson or mock streaming games. He's gotten in with some pretty good ones. He's gotten drawn out on a few times. And kind of run into some hands, so he has been eliminated here from this tournament as we're down to four-handed. Chris now with a commanding 81,800 chips, over 50% of the chips in play. And Jillian with her lowest stack at about 17 big blinds. We're going to re-up James here, get some more chips back in. Another bullet here for James and Sam here in our live stream on TCH Live. My name is Mike Youngblood. Thank you for following along. So that's our third kind of test stream to. I've done football, I've done baseball, basketball, volleyball, all that kind of stuff. And when the opportunity came to do poker, I thought, is this a mirage or is somebody playing a joke on me here? Is this really happening? And have embraced the opportunity with both arms and love the potential that we've got. We got about 2 more minutes left here. Okay, before we take a pause here on our feed.
I don't know what I have. 9, 2 pair, 2 pair. What? You had a hand? Add it to the river. you got lucky on the turn. I didn't even know I had.
Goes here.
No, it should be dead by the wall.
Oh yeah, you got it. Dead button.
All right, test 1, 2.
Oh, yeah.
Here. But that could also be just me because
Done. 1,000. Go. Go.
Or a diamond. Oh, I got the diamond part.
That 3,000.
yeah, 20. Yeah, I mean, and we're back to four-handed here in our Super Turbo Staff extravaganza here on Thursday night at Texas Card House here on TCH Live. Welcome back here to the stream. It's like we are down here to Sam, Jillian, Chris, and James. As some seat changes here. And we'll go three ways to a flop of King 9, 7 5, and see the third hand here, Queen 8. Top pair with an 8. Queen kicker and the Queen of Clubs here for Sam, and we'll lead for 1,000. Turn going to come a King though here for Chris. It's flop top pair. And stabs at it here for 200. Opening a straight draw for James, and he'll call the 3,000 bet. Pod has built up to a nice one here, and Chris with a huge chip advantage out in front, and it's a club. 7 of clubs on the river, and it is a queen high flush draw here for Sam, and makes the bet. About 5,400 it looks like is the value bet on the end. Yep, that's an all-in bet. Yep, left about a K behind, and
I don't have the straight flush.
ships it all as it gets paid off by a pair of kings. Chris actually made a smaller flush with a 9 of clubs, but give Sam some chips back up in her stack. Let's re-enter twice back into this. If you're watching this and you've subscribed here on TCH Live, this is a mock tournament that we're running as a test stream. Got a Super Turbo tournament that blinds going up every 5 hands and a 15K starting stack. We started at 100, 200, and we are at 500, 1,000 with a 1K big blind ante. So Before any bets are made, there's over 2.5K on each of these pots. And becomes a big raise with 7 deuces. Chris going to raise at 20. Jane's going to call out of the small blind with queen jack of clubs.
You do. I just gave you this. You definitely got more than 20.
Not saying with the decision here with king high. Okay, there's a lot of chips out here. Don't have exactly a great hand, but is she going to make the Leroy Jenkins move to the pot? Thinking about it. Now, Jillian had a pair of sixes and decided that this was getting a little too crazy. It's at about a 20x bet by Chris. Now, we know that it's 7 deuces spades, but, probably from her position, it's just like, okay, unless there's an extremely weird combo, flop's going to come 9 high, and continuation bet. Chris just mowing over the table there with a 20K pre-flop raise and continuation bet. And with his stack, I mean, he's essentially forcing the players there to either call off an all-in and just kind of flex his muscles a bit. And a little risky with the 7 deuce of spades, but
even on the hands that lose,
got a stack like that, you can make it happen. And
I could never.
Jillian also there, she had a pair of sixes, but it's a situation as blinds go up a little bit more, and seeing players get knocked out, kind of chance to move up the pay. And three-handed as we'll go to a flop. 3 clubs, 10 high. Sam's got a queen high flush draw. Chris has got a jack high flush draw. Jillian's got the only pair. And will give up a second one on what looks like a pretty scary board for a pair of 5s. Club flush on the turn. Bet and a call, and Chris is drawn dead. No hope in this one. Sam's going to double up as the board pairs a 9 of hearts on the end.
He is hitting everything.
Here's your classic matchup between Queen Deuce offsuit and Jack 4.
Oh, you just see the hand? I was like, how are you falling for the other 4?
I lost anyway.
Are you calling off?
You got to feel for Chris there. He's like, okay, I got a Jack high flush. Only about 2 hands there, 2 or 3 hands that beat me. And Sam just happened to show him the business. But the real hand, the Queen Deuce offsuit. Ladies' night here at Texas Card House. We get ready for the Chris Moneymaker Series this weekend. And 50% off your hourly for the ladies, and a $50 re-entry tournament going on as well. As if you are not familiar with that schedule, again, we will have our opening stream of TCH Live here tomorrow at 5/5, no limit. I think we are expected to go at about 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. It'll also be a 1-3 no limit, and 1-3 no limit here is match the big stack. So if you see somebody with an extraordinary amount of chips and you want to buy in for as much as him or her, you can certainly do so. Saturday, January 4th, the 15 guaranteed prize pool re-entry tournament of $150 that starts at approximately 12:30. 25K starting stack and 30-minute levels ensures that you're going to get a lot of play if you buy into that one. And if I'll be happy to be so unfortunate to bust out, you can get back in here before level 9. Gonna have 3 ways here to a flop.
3 players.
Chris taking a bit of the pedal off the metal, and we'll check his 8-4 offsuit. Jillian with the best hand with ace-9 of clubs. Yeah, Sam limping on the button there with 7-6, and I feel like in the poker world, there's a lot of thought as there's a certain way to do things, and we're very unbending as flop comes 6-3 deuce, a top pair here for Sam, and small bet of about a fourth of the top pair. Chris with a gut shot straight draw to a 5, and this chips is an easy call. So has an overcard here with an 8, and turns the 7 of hearts. 2 pair here for Sam. But a pretty weak draw for Chris, and will give up the pot. But yeah, as a player, and I can only speak to just kind of playing some of the small stake stuff and tournaments online, that if I'm in a live setting, I really want to be able to show different things. Whereas, maybe limping up front is, I think, to the snark crowd, is like, you can't do that. Everything must come in with a raise. Or if you're on the button, that it must come in for a raise. And I had a guy who was teaching me a lot about the game for the professional level. Just said, mathematically, it just almost makes sense as long as there's antes out there. That anything that's folded to you is worth a raise on the button. And factually, I think that's correct. But as players get more familiar with each other, I think you have to have different moves and different tricks in the bag and different ways to be able to sell different things. And heads up again here between Sam and Chris. I think they've been ready to go at it here on the felt for a while. And we'll go with ace-9 offsuit against 9-3. So flop comes ace, jack, and 9. A top and bottom for Chris. Bottom pair here for Sam. And doesn't believe him. Reaching for chips here. A call is 15K. And it's going to bet the turn dark, and here comes a 2 of spades. Chance for Sam to get away from this hand. And unfolds. So, well, what a nice guy. He could have just showed the 9 and played head games, but the gentleman Chris here with the bet. James's chips have been dwindled down to about 2 big blinds. Jillian's still with 28,700, and Sam stacked there at around 37.
He's just playing every hand he has.
Going to be pretty much blinded out here as James the opportunity to work here in the box. And as many of our dealers, floor managers, and staff have gotten the opportunity to just kind of see what this all looks like. And it's a pretty sweet table, to be honest. The felt moves pretty nice. The cards glide really nice. That you can make a pretty short pitch, as we say, with the cards, and they slide pretty well on it. And
Raise 3,000. Fold.
Sam going to call here with the blinds now 1,000, 2,000 here with King 3 of diamonds. Or excuse me, Chris now here with Queen 9 offsuit, and flop's going to come Queen high. We'll induce the bet and the check raise.
Because you got a jack.
Excuse me. Why don't we back things up here? So it's a little trick here with 4 players to always be on top of what position they are. And Sam made a lead on it. Chris made a raise. And continues to show the best hand here, 3-handed. All right, now we got to recalibrate it here. Again, 500, 1,000, 1,000, big blind ante. Chris was 66% of the chips in play. And Sam and Jillian both hovering around that 28, 30,000 chip mark. As change on the way here for Sam. Chris has got a mountain of white chips. So generally, once we get to break time, as we do our chip ups and color ups, and once we get to the next break, that is most likely will happen. And Chris, the very good hand, 3-handed ace 10 of hearts, opens for a raise. Looks like going to be about 19,000. Sam gonna move all in with Queen Jack of clubs and will get called. And
Oh, you're good.
these are the kind of hands you start to see when you get short-handed. That and flop comes Ace Jack 4, 2 diamonds. Sam out front. Sam's got second pair and it's a Jack or a Queen. And it's a King. Pair aces for Chris. He's knocked out yet another player. And Jillian has held on and folded her way here to a pretty nice spot with
No, right?
player vacating a spawn, and now just up to, I think seat 1 has many more chips left, so again, we are playing for pride. This is a mock tournament structure. All these players had started with 15K in chips, and blinds going up every 5 hands. Sam will take over the stack here, go down to 3-handed, and gonna see a pair of 7s. Almost a big blind and a half. Moves in here for 2003. Chris doesn't even have to look at his cards, but he will draw a solid King 5 of spades. So 1 over and a suited spade. Chance for Sam to stay in. And flop's going to come King 3 deuce. No luck for 7s. Gonna need a 7 and a 7 only, and that's a King on the river. 3 of a kind Kings for Chris. Sam has been once again eliminated, and now down to heads up. Chris again way up with the lead with 85% of the chips in play. Jillian 26 and 200.
Give me change then, dude.
Blinds at 500, 1,000. Expect anytime Chris has a reasonable hand, he's going to be pushing chips in. But he's also a double up away of giving Jillian some daylight back into this. That if she picks up a hand that that's either better or cannot draw him. But here with ace high, that's not a pretty simple decision for him to make. Don't expect he'll get tricky here. Jillian with 9-8 of clubs is almost assuredly going to want to see something, but is she going to decide this is not the spot for me, or and Chris will bring the hammer as we'll give it up. And in this spot and heads up, it's you really want to be the person being the aggressor. That if you've got a hand that you can move with, and make the decision, make the other player have to make that decision. That's generally the more ideal path. And with over about 24 big blinds, she still has a lot of time to at least maybe wait for a better spot. But I think the gambler and all of us wanted to see what would happen if she moved in with a 9-8 of clubs, though. And Chris with his queen still can continue to be a card rack here. We'll get no action, but
you can have all those. That's all you.
See if Jillian's patience pays off. As 9 deuce of diamonds, a pretty easy decision. So Chris with an overwhelming chip lead has the opportunity to just kind of name his price here as far as what he wants to do, and he wants to give up a chunky hand or just keep a pot small on the button with a small amount. It can certainly do so. And that's what looks like what we have here. As make the call to 1,000 and go heads up here to the flop. He's totally dominated here with 8-3, but the flop of ace 5-4 has got a couple of outs to a straight.
Won't be ready until about
Turn
2:30.
comes a 5,
So,
board pairs.
I did something different.
Dealing with a
Brought,
pair of
my
8s, seeing an
mother-in-law's
ace
wings and
is,
shrimp etouffee
I don't think,
tonight
what you
with
wanted to see,
rice.
but can't expect
I
that.
have
Can
chicken.
reasonably
I
expect
have
that,
sausage. And I have one T-bone
Chris is
steak.
not just limping on
And
the
so,
button with an ace rack. And
and I have some potato salad. So, a little variety there.
see if
And
Chris
just
makes
running
a
tomorrow, and I got
bet at this, and he will here on the river with a scary board. But Jillian, correct interception at 8's the best hand. It's going to make a huge call to double up.
I had a shake though.
So she's going to chip up to 47,400, and we've got ourselves a poker game here as Jillian climbing out of the cellar and back into the light, but still an over 3-1 advantage for Chris here heads up. And there are a lot of people that really, really love heads up poker. And whether on the cash side, it's a little harder to do on the live circuit, but online it certainly has had its popularity as far as a game that people love to play. And heads up sit and goes and that kind of thing. Like, it's tough to emulate that experience because generally all of what you learn in poker is either at a full table or a 9-handed or 8-handed or some of the 6 max tournaments like we have with the San Valentino Classic, a terrific tournament that we had here around Thanksgiving as well that we hope to have more of in the future. That bigger buy-in, short-handed, the players all seem to really love it, and Jillian's going to dodge a bullet and mock the 8-3. Blinds at 500 and 1,000. And that is not your eyes deceiving you. We've got barbecue there in the background. Get some brisket. The best thing that gentleman has there is banana pudding. 100% by far. I'd never had banana pudding until I had this, and it's like, hey man, can I get some more of that? That was incredible. And get your chance some brisket sandwiches. Oh, it's really, really good. So now this is also a time once we get the heads up that players will discuss chops or potential deals or Chris is in a chip position with a chip leader. He really doesn't it's just like, okay, we can play this out for as long as we want, but players have taken maybe percentage deals where to maybe mitigate the risk that the impossible happens. Say Chris surrenders a chip lead and Jillian makes an extraordinary comeback, so you're still coming out way ahead. But I don't expect with these two players in this situation that we'll see a chop here tonight. Continue here to heads up. Jillian with King Deuce of Diamonds out of the big blind. Chris here with the suited 10-6. And we'll just elect to take a flop here heads up. Jillian has been pretty tight, solid, has not gotten out of line. And I think Chris is in his position. He's going to make a quick fold here as a nice shove by Jillian to pick up the pot. Take some of the guesswork out of her. Chris, a more experienced player, just kind of hang in the weeds here with those more marginal hands and just try to trap and see if there are going to be any opportunities to either extract chips or make bluffs as we continue here as Chris posts his blind as 1K big blind ante. Quite a battle we got going on. Jillian trying to come back. Had gotten down pretty low. I think at one point it was down to maybe about 5,000 or 10,000. Here with Jack 9, dueling Jack 9s. And we talk about it a lot, but when a player has the same hand, the hand tends to go to the aggressor. No player biting here on the flop of Queen 8-4. Turn comes a 6. See if Chris has a window to try to make a bet. Jillian with the inside straight draw, going to make a call. Chris got to be wondering, okay, what do you have here? I think would have thought she would have bet top pair. And I go check, and I'll get a chuckle as they say they were playing identical hands. And hand reading, and as we see, Chris has put chips in over 83% of the time in each of these pots, and Jillian's been a little, more conservative at about 40%. And it's what's really allowed her to survive is just not taking any really abnormally unusual risks as far as with her chip stack. And patience is such a huge part of this game that sometimes you can just make it by folding deep into the tournament and not. So Chris will call on the button with 10-6 offsuit, Jillian with 8-7 offsuit. Slight advantage here for 10 high as it comes King, Jack, 9 with 2 clubs. Now they each have a straight draw. Chris has got the 10 in his hand. And as checked him, he'll bet 3,000 and get a call here from Jillian. Still alive here with an 8 or a 7. And Chris will continue with a bigger bet and extract some few chips as we'll repost his big blind. All right, so you're sitting at home here, and Jillian's the underdog in this. Chris is a pretty good player. Jillian's a little newer to the game. So if you're rooting for Jillian here, okay, what does she got to do? And I think she's just got to wait for Chris to make an aggressive move with a bad hand and try to just catch his hand in the cookie jar. That's going to give her really the best opportunity to double up. Because Chris is not going to, not going to gamble a large amount of chips at these levels at 500, 1,000 to merely knock a player out. Because he's got enough time here to operate that. Well, why don't we take a quick commercial break here? I see. Okay. I got. Yeah. All right, King 6 of clubs here on the button for Chris. 3 deuce offsuit, and I always call 3 deuce offsuit the Texas Card House aces, just because it's always hilarious when that hand wins or it goes up against a big hand, and 3 high comes away with something. But Jillian correctly deciding, no, I'm not going to get tangled up with this. $500, 1,000. Jillian with Ace King, and the trap has been set, boys and girls. Here it comes. Here comes Chris now with Ace 9 offsuit. Terrific spot here for Jillian to double up. And going to push the chips into the middle, and Chris thinking, what? Was totally expecting she would raise in that spot, and well executed by Jillian. Ace King high still out front, and a 9 on the river. Oh, Chris had made a huge bet and got lucky and has knocked out Jillian. You understand why both hands get in, and sometimes it's just nice to be the winner as Chris wins here with Ace 9 offsuit, and our floor managers will come out to congratulate him. Most likely get his picture as won the prestigious Super Turbo Mock Tournament on Super Thursday here on Texas Card House. Has obliterated the field as Ace King falls to Ace 9. What a fun night here. This was an excellent presentation of what we shall hopefully see. Players moving chips, wild flops, the percentages. Boy, we had a great time this evening here on TCH Live. As we chip up here, we will sign off again, but we want to remind you about some of the promotions that we have going on. Again, our promotion here, Progressive promotion here in January. If you play for 5 hours straight, get 20% off your hourly rate. If you play here for 7 hours straight, 30% off. And if you play here for 10 hours straight, that's over 40% off your monthly membership. Again, the Chris Moneymaker Celebrity Series coming to Texas Card House the 3rd through the 7th. Cash, tournament, mixed games, pot limit Omaha, Big O, you name it. Look on the calendar here and visit us at texascardhouse.com for more information. So we may just take a break here for we host a cash game on the stream.
You tell him to quit wasting all his buck on the freezer.
I know, right?